Ella was a creature of sharp edges and quick judgments, a young student in the bustling, ancient city of Viridian. Her world was neatly catalogued. The grand, Gothic library housed wisdom, the market square held commerce, and the cobbled-back alleys were home to the forgotten and the strange. It was in the narrowest of these alleys that she first saw him, Tobias. Tobias was a man who looked like a discarded history book. His clothes were patches of faded canvas, his hair was a wild, graying tangle, and his face was a roadmap of deep lines, often smudged with charcoal or earth. He spent his days sitting by a crumbling wall, his only possessions a rickety wooden cart filled with what Ella, in her snap assessment, deemed junk: broken clock gears, tarnished silver spoons, fragments of colored glass, and pieces of driftwood. Ella's friends called him the ragman, and she had quickly absorbed their dismissive attitude. "He's likely a scavenger, maybe a bit mad," she'd whispered one afternoon, wrinkling her nose as they hurried past his spot. "He's just an empty, dusty cover." One blustery autumn day, a gust of wind tore a precious page from Ella's textbook, a meticulously drawn diagram of the celestial sphere. It fluttered down the alley and settled right at Tobias' feet. Annoyed, Ella marched up to him, ready to retrieve it with a curt, impersonal nod. "I need that back," she said, her tone clipped. Tobias didn't look up immediately. He was meticulously cleaning a tiny, iridescent shard of glass with a soft cloth. When he finally lifted his eyes, they were startlingly clear and kind. "A beautiful diagram," he observed, his voice soft and resonant, like a cello string. He picked up the page with surprising care. "Notice how Ptolemy's original model here uses epicycles to account for the retrograde motion of Mars? A brilliant attempt to reconcile observation with a flawed assumption. You see the mathematical elegance in the error?" Ella froze. She stared at the man who looked like he slept under a bridge but spoke like a university professor. You know about epicycles?" Tobias smiled, a slow, deep smile that softened the lines on his face. "A dusty cover can still hold a tale. This junk, as you see it," he gestured to his cart, "is not junk. It is history, geometry, and broken beauty." He reached into his cart and pulled out a small, heavy piece of iron, twisted and pitted by fire. "This is a fragment of a bell, forged in the time of the city's founder. Hear that?" He tapped it gently, producing a faint, pure, crystalline chime. "The composition of the alloy tells you about the metallurgy of that age." Then, he picked up a wooden frame he was working on. It was filled with the colored glass fragments red, blue, amber, and green that Ella had seen. As he held it up, the meager alley light caught the pieces, and they exploded into a dazzling, shifting pattern of light and color on the cobblestones. "This," he said, turning the frame to create new patterns, "is a kaleidoscope. All these broken pieces, all the junk you dismissed, are now creating light and wonder. You judged the contents by the state of the cover, Ella. But the true story, the true brilliance, was inside, waiting to be assembled." Over the next few weeks, Ella returned to the alley, not to hurry past, but to learn. Tobias was a scholar, a former master craftsman, and a philosopher whose life had been simplified by choice, not by failure. He taught her how to look past surface appearance and appreciate the intrinsic value of things and people. He wasn't defined by his tattered clothes or his strange possessions, he was defined by his wisdom, his gentle nature, and his illuminating soul. Ella learned her most important lesson: you should not judge a book by its cover, but rather read it and see what you discover. The moral of the story: do not judge by the sight of the eyes, but judge with righteous judgment, for the Lord looks not at the appearance, but at the heart. John 7 verse 24.